role of women in the economy has been increasing at an exponential pace. Women today are farmers, factory workers, scientists, engineers, doctors, businesswomen, and hold many other jobs that may have been unthinkable in the past. This is also a recurring issue in OIC countries where the severity of gender disparity between men and women in policies and practices is more visible in the fields of education, health, family, politics, economy, and decision making. Most of the world's Muslims live in 30 emerging markets in which they are majority of the population. Together this economy comprise 12% of the world's GDP and one-fifth of its population. These include countries which high per capita income such as Saudi Arabia, the United Arab, Malaysia and Turkey. So gender equality is very much important to encourage the young women in the Muslim countries so that they can progress more.
Muslim women, I feel one stereotype is we're supposed to be oppressed, or that's one stereotype people might have in terms of media. So
I feel like Muslim women are supposed to be quiet, not outspoken, not loud.
Like, aren't Muslim girls supposed to be like mellow and like reserved? And yeah, so that really like got to me that people actually think that.
Sometimes, many people believe in tradition or someone's perceptions that both men and women have their own role in family, society, and country. But then, many consider that the tasks of women are cooking, taking care of children, family, and doing all the chores. It is because they think women would be better at home and work in the kitchen instead of venturing into economics. Plus, it would be dangerous for a woman to expose themselves in the outside world. After all, there are some barriers that cause a woman to stay at home such as childcare, sick parents, and time with family will be less if they choose to get a job. In this situation, society's mentality believes that men should carry the responsibility to work, not women. These are the statistics of female unemployment rate in 11 majority Muslim nations. One of the key components of a very strong economic growth is the financial empowerment of women. Though there have been limitations, obstacles, and roadblocks faced by these women in the past, society has begun to accept that women entrepreneurs do contribute greatly to a country's economy. Although there is no data on the number of women involved in small business, it can be said that in the last few decades, women's participation in small business have increased tremendously. However, nowadays our country is governed democratically, where people's votes are considered with justice. Now, women are accepted in the economic sector and have greater opportunities than before. In addition, society's perception and mentalities toward women have changed because of the hardship in the economy. If men alone take the responsibilities to work, then there is a possibility that men are unable to afford their family. This is because the cost of living is increasing. Hence, society's view of women today is that they have to work to help husbands to support their family. Moreover, the new academic pursuits to advance knowledge on various aspects of women's situation, leading to changes in perception towards women's contribution. Hence, the number of women getting a proper education have increased. Because of that, Muslim women nowadays are qualified to get a job. In line with technology advancement, a great opportunity is now open for women to allow them to work from home. Now it's time for women to break the barriers.
Gender inequality comes from the idea that men and women are not equal and that genders affects an individual's living experience. Study shows that the diverse living experience of genders across many domains, including careers, personality, and education. Besides, in gender inequalities is experienced differently across the different cultures. In psychology, from birth, males and females are raised and experienced differently through their lives. Males and females are led on different paths due to the influence of stereotypes and expectations before they are able to choose their own.
Well, I fight for women's rights, and I believe that every woman has the right, everyone has equal rights as men have, because why should there be a difference? Because sometimes people think that women's bodies are weaker and they do not have such big muscles as men have, and they cannot run a family, they cannot run an office, and they are not as wise as men are. But we actually don't see the reality, because in reality it is the woman who is controlling the whole house, who is taking care of the children, who is also cooking, never appreciated for that, who is cleaning the house, never appreciated for that. So I think we have the work that woman does, we think, oh, it's her job and that's what she's supposed to do.
Hence, men and women are seen as two very different species who have their own personalities and should be on separate paths. However, by these expectations, it shows that women are being biased and racist by the men. It is because, due to the logic, women always be seen as weak because of their nature with soft personality. In fact, the society often viewed men as the perfect species to control and power many aspects. In employment, men applicants significantly more competent and hireable than an identical female applicant. In general, women are being violent beyond the control because the fundamental human rights also being diminished and almost be eliminated. Thus, some of big parties such as the United Nations and the National Women Parties have been formed to fight for women's suffrage. There are some countries making a conference as Beijing to solve this issue. Meanwhile, on the other hand, in Islamic or Muslim perspective, women have the same position and responsibilities as men. They also have the same spiritual nature. According to the Quran, Allah said that, and their Lord has accepted of them and answered them. Never will I suffer the loss of the work of any of you, be it male or female. You are members of one another. Thereupon, both face the consequence of their deeds. In conclusion, women have the rights as the men in life, including the economic sectors that can multiply in the profits if both of them combine each other for having the balanced needs.
Women's legal positions and rights in Islam and Al-Quran. In Islam, men and women are equal to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and compulsory to fulfill the same duties of worship such as 5 daily prayers, fasting and pilgrimage. From the beginning of Islam, Muslim society have commonly practiced the equality between sexes, an example of such equality because Islam is rich with tradition of scriptural guidance. However, there are many problematic gender attitudes and norms throughout the Muslim communities today. So here are the answers for the question what the woman's position and right in Islam and Al-Quran is. Rights will be divided into two categories, which are politics and economics. And here we will discuss first about the politics. Traditionally, mainstream Muslim scholars have limited leadership roles to men, effectively denying women access to public leadership. Majority classical law scholars determine that if someone wants to be a leader, one must be a free male, have full capacity for moral answerability, more morally upright, and possesses knowledge of the rulings of Islamic law. In Islam, it is permissible for women to be a leader in any position that she qualified, but Islam prefers men to be leaders, either family heads or leaders of society. To be a leader, genders are not an important aspect because the inner self will be determined who are qualified to be a leader. Nowadays, the number of politicians and political women has increased from day to day. But the scholars unanimously agree about it and mention that a hadith of the Messenger of Allah state, a people who appoint women as their leader will not succeed. Hadith from Al-Bukhari. So, as a conclusion, in Islam women are not prohibited to be leaders, but Islam more prefer men and not encourage women's public participation. Next, we will discuss about women's rights in economics. In Islam, there are no restrictions on women about working to have the economic growth. Women can work, but she have to obey the Sharia. Interests of working women are upholding manners as a Muslim woman, such as the work must be lawful and not affect any other duty, as the duty to husband and children. Sometimes it becomes necessary and sometimes it becomes compulsory, especially in the urgent circumstance that make the woman have to work. For instance, it will become compulsory for women to work if her husband is sick and unable to work to support the family. However, the conditions and manners must be fulfilled by the woman. In conclusion, women can work to have the economic growth but must maintain the limits set by Islamic law to achieve worldly success and the hereafter.
Men and women in Islam, regardless of their age, social class and education, are equal as citizens and individuals, but not identical in their rights and responsibilities. It can be observed from Islamic history that in the early age of Islam, women were given full confidence, trust, and high responsibilities in leadership, educational guidance, and decision-making. Empowering women in the economy is key to achieving the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, as well as closing gender gaps in the world. International Monetary Fund research seems to suggest that higher female labor force participation boosts economic growth and raises living standards. For example, because now employers have much larger pool of talent, both male and female talent to choose from. New IMF research seems to suggest that actually the benefits of gender diversity will be even higher than previously estimated because while men and women are equally talented, they bring slightly different skills to the table. These skills are complementary. For instance, women tend to be less risk-averse than men, and studies have shown that gender diversity on the boards of the banking supervision agencies associated with higher financials. So, because the skills that men and women bring to the table are complementary, productivity and wages in economy are higher when more women participated in the labor force, and this benefits everyone, men and women alike. As well as the principles to operate business have been highlighted clearly in Islam. There are some prohibited things that must be avoided by Muslim women entrepreneurship. Having a business is encouraged, and for Muslim women, their ventures are highly intertwined with Islam. The characteristics of women's business venturing differ significantly compared to those of men. Thus, women entrepreneurship has become a separate field of research. For Muslim women entrepreneurs, their involvements and experience vary widely between and within different societies. This makes the researchers from diverse disciplines keen to learn on Muslim women entrepreneurs
and their business success factors prevalent such as in Indonesia. As mentioned in Islamic ways of entrepreneurship, Prophet Mohamed ﷺ and his wife Khadijah had shown that practices in the field of entrepreneurship. It is an aim for every Muslim to seek success in business without expecting success thereafter. This engagement of Muslim women will reinforce prosperity to the society. Akhlaq or ethics in the boundary when using any resources in administrating the ventures. The accomplishment of entrepreneurs to perform the duties aligned in Sharia is an act of ibadah. Islam emphasizes that all the products must be made based on the concept of halalan and tayyibah as the ultimate goal of business. Women are 50% of the population. They do 66% of the work and make 80% of consumer spending decisions. But women own only 30% of businesses, receive only 10% of the world's income, and own only 2% of the property.
Women's economic empowerment is beyond just the word economic. It is about personal empowerment.
Mwanamke akiwa na kipato inasaidia katika jamii.
There is no better investment than women to spur economic growth and also create and foster sustainable development.
The business case for us is very clear. A diverse team, a diverse leadership group makes us a more robust company, makes us more commercially successful.
The deprivation of the rights of women has a serious social and economic impact, and achieving gender equality has a crucial impact on the full and normal functioning of communities and economies. Economic empowerment means that the economy can more fully tap potential female resources and optimize resource allocation more effectively, thereby achieving more stable economic growth and improving the living standard of the entire economy. Women's contribution to the world economy is not only direct access to the labor market, but also consumption. The potential of the global female consumer market is greater than the sum of India and China. We need to pay attention to the economic status of women.
Because when women entrepreneurs are empowered with tools, knowledge, financial opportunities, economies grow, prosperity increases. Everyone wins.
What is the contribution of Muslim women in economic growth? Muslim women's contribution is essential in economic activities. The al-Mu'minin Khadija was one of the Muslim women who done amazing contribution in economy. She was a businesswoman and international trader. After Prophet Muhammad became employer to her business, although he was 15 years younger, she was really pleased with his honesty, dignity, and commercial transactions that she could engage to him. After a quarter of a century from their marriage, she died at the age of 65 years, and Prophet Muhammad haven't ever forget and stopped laughing with a woman who helped it. At the time of Khadija death, her whole wealth already had been spent preaching Islam. She did not leave a gold 1 dinar or silver dirham, and what an investment she created, and it is one that continues to give around the world today. Every Muslim who has gone through this lifetime is a living testimony to the fruits of the investment. At Umar bin Khattabi's caliphate, Umar acknowledged her talent and insight, and he appreciated the intelligence and concerned abilities of Al-Shifa, as well as her deep understanding of Islam. She was appointed to the critical plan of managing the economy in the markets of Medina. Her principal duties were to check that corporate activities were compatible with Islam in Islam at all times. She would go across the market to ensure that there was no bribery or trickery, and that the buyer and seller salaries of self-Islamic principle. Umar asked shopkeepers if they had any question, then they should ask Al-Shifa about the lawfulness of the specific operation. He confided in her Islamic knowledge. Her assignment was extremely effective, and so he selected another female when Umar named another person to manage the economy in Mecca markets. Samra bin Haig became market regulator in Mecca, and her position is possibly contrary to many popular ideas about the Islamic community by the time. It indicates female merchants and women shopkeepers were present in those early Muslim communities. If the marketplace had been mainly the domain of a man, it would have been extremely difficult for a woman to fulfill her duties as a controller, yet neither Ashifa nor Samra faced such problems. However, when Islam was introduced in 7th century, the economies of Mecca and Medina were managed by women. It cannot also be forgotten that while Muslim women were eligible to earn and spend as they pleased.
What is OIC plans to empower Muslim women in economy? Before answering the questions, let me tell you a little bit of OIC. OIC, or can be named as Organizations of Islamic Cooperations, which discuss all matters regarding problems that faced by Muslim countries around the world. It was established on 25 September 1969. Until today, OIC has established and conduct many programs or strategies to enhance the quality of Islamic countries around the world. Today, there are 57 Islamic countries participating in OIC. As we discussed in earlier video, the United Nations pursuing 17 goals of SDG, and for this topic, we focus on SDG 5, which is to uphold gender equality. As we can see, OIC had its own plan to empower Muslim women, especially in economy. This is to ensure that Muslim women are not left behind from other non-Muslim women in economy, as many countries are pursuing to achieve the 17 goals. Due from that, OIC established the Plan of Actions for the advancement of women. This plan is to enhance women in various fields such as decision-making participations, education, health, economic empowerment, social protections, protections of women in violence, women in crisis situations, women in disasters, and women in armed conflicts. However, in this topic, I will talk about economic empowerment of Muslim women. There are 60 plans of actions to help Muslim women to enhance their skills on economic fields. Half of those plans include: first, provide women with the skills to study demands of the labor market. Second, ensuring and enabling working environments that suit to women in terms of transport, safety, and non-discrimination in the workplace. Third, creating initiatives to promote women's access to public sector employment on equal footing with men. Fourth, increasing women's capacities and financial planning skills by providing access to capacity building, training, access to financial planning advice, improving understanding of personal banking, retirement, student loans, and repayment policies, and providing opportunities for microcredit finance and other financial services. And fifth, adopting laws against discriminations based on gender in the labor market, especially hiring and promotions. Empowering Muslim women in economy will improve their lives and their family by giving them an opportunity to work and get enough salary. With the knowledge in financials, women will learn on how to manage their money properly.
কাউন্ট করার আগে আসলে আমার ওভাবে টাকা সঞ্চয় করা হতো না, কারণ সময় আর সুযোগ কোনোটাই হতো না। পুরো টাকাটা হাতে নিয়ে সময় হতো না, কারণ সকাল থেকে সন্ধ্যা পর্যন্ত অফিস, তারপর বাড়িতে যাওয়ার পরে যে কোনোভাবে খরচ হয়ে যেত। কিন্তু ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট করার পরে ওই ব্যাংকটা খুব কাছে চলে আসার পরে আমার জন্য অনেক সুবিধা হলো। যে কোনো সময় আমি ব্যাংকে যেতে পারি এবং আমার টাকাটা ওখানে সঞ্চয় করতে পারতেছি, যা কিনা আমার ভবিষ্যতের জন্য অনেক।
By conducting the strategic plans, we hope that there will a lot of Muslim women contribute in the sectors of economy around the world, so that the SDG 5 will be achieved. However, only planning is not enough without taking any necessary actions from Islamic countries. Hence, it is important for the government to conduct those strategies so that the plan of actions for the advancement of women will successfully achieve.
In conclusion, we can see that the perception of the people is changing in positive ways, and gender discrimination is being penalized and being taken more seriously globally. Especially Muslim women in their unique individuality are being embraced and celebrated. They are penetrating the fabric of global economy, and their contribution is not something to be taken lightly at all. Moreover, the YC is taking bold steps to curb these existing problems and lead the march for Muslim women worldwide. Their economic fortune will determine the prosperity and stability of their own countries, and by consequences of the global economy. However, we also should encourage our sister, daughter, and relatives